Hi there, welcome to That Board Game Show. My name is James Wood, and today I'm going to show you Rolling Realms, designed by Jamey Stegmaier, with art by Bensky and Marius Petrescu. Specifically, I'm going to be showing you the Solitaire Minigolf variant for Rolling Realms, designed by Morten, Monrad, Pedersen and Karel Titeca, with Lieve Teugels. Rolling Realms was developed by Jamey Stegmaier during the early stages of the coronavirus pandemic in early 2020, during which time there were worldwide lockdowns and self-isolation and social distancing, and so this had quite a direct impact on people getting together to play games. So Jamey Stegmaier decided to develop something that could be played remotely with his gaming group, which then grew beyond that to the general public through his Facebook Live videos. And as restrictions were lifted and people got back together to playing games, there became a demand for an actual physical copy of this, because before it was just a print and play. So now Stegmaier Games have developed this lovely boxed edition, which includes all of the realms you need on these very nice sort of plasticky cards that you can write and wipe off using a dry erase marker. It still can be played completely remotely if everybody has access to the same set of cards. You just need one person to roll the dice, and then everybody else will write on their cards. So with that said, I'm going to start by showing you how to play Rolling Realms by playing through the Solitaire Minigolf variant. This is going to be the first in a series of videos which I'm going to do, playing through one hole at a time in each video. So today we're going to be playing hole 1. I've already played through a few holes prior to filming this video, which you may or may not be able to see on my overhead camera here, because I've been marking it off in pencil quite light. But today I'm just going to start fresh on hole 1, and I'll explain how it differs from the regular version of Rolling Realms as I go. The first thing that's very different in the Solitaire Minigolf version is typically in a game of Rolling Realms, you're going to play 3 rounds. And each round, you're going to have 3 realms that you're going to play with. So in a standard game, one player will shuffle up their deck of realm cards, which I have over here. They'll pick 3 of them at random, and then everybody at the table will find those 3 realms, and those will be the 3 realms you will reuse for round 1. Once round 1 has completed after 9 turns, which you keep track of over here, we'll set those 3 realms aside. One player will pick 3 realms at random, reveal them, and we'll do it again. And we'll do that 3 times over. And then at the end of 3 realms, the person with the most points wins. In the Solitaire Minigolf variant, instead of playing through 3 full realms and simply trying to get your best high score, which is one way you can play this game solo, it gives you a specific objective with each hole. And each hole is only played with 3 realms. You'll see on the course log over here that there are 4 circles and then the square box on the end. So this is simulating a mini golf course of 18 holes. And on each hole, you have 4 chances to attempt to complete the objective given to you for that hole. The objectives for each hole are given on these cards and also in the book over here. So you'll see here, these are hole 1, hole 2, hole 3. These are the special rules for each hole. There are also difficulty levels, so you'll see here the normal difficulty is just the standard Rolling Realms rules. The easy difficulty is also playing with the standard rules, but you start with a few resources. And the hard difficulty is shown on each card. So if I show you hole 1 over here, to complete hole 1, you have to score at least 8 points total. In hard mode, you have to score at least 9.5. And at the start of the game, you decide which difficulty level you're going to play with. I will leave a link down in the description below for where you can download a course log like this, which you can then either print out or mark up digitally, and play along if you would like. And with all that, I'm going to dive in and start playing the first turn. So let's see what hole 1's special rules are. It has a par of 1, So it's expecting that you're going to be able to complete this objective in one round of play. You have 4 rounds, and each time you attempt a hole, you're going to mark off one of them. If you fail in your 4th attempt, you will mark off a par of 5. And then once you've played through all 18 holes, you're going to tally up your tries on each hole, and that will be your final score for the course. So hole 1, pretty easy. Early birdie, it's a fairly straightforward one to get you rolling with this. And it tells you here you're going to use realms Charterstone, Scythe and Tapestry, which I have set up here already. And the special rules are: play only 7 turns. Cross out spaces for 2 turns before starting to help you remember only to play 7 turns. Set that aside, and this is our round tracker card here. So we'll mark off these boxes here, which are representing 1 turn each. And you'll see how that works as soon as I start playing. So, with that said, let's start playing. The first thing you do, pick up the dice, and one player rolls both dice. And I'm just going to move this off to the side now, because you don't use it during gameplay. It is purely for marking your score at the end. And give myself a bit more space for my dice over here. So, nice big chunky dice come in this game, which was making filming this video very easy. So I have rolled a 3 and a 5. I will now mark 3 and 5 over here. 3 and 5. Now those are the 2 numbers I can use in my 3 realms. Now here are a couple of the standard rules for rolling realms. You can only use each number once, naturally. And you can also only mark off a number in each realm once per turn. So for instance, I can't take this 3 and this 5 and use them both here in Scythe. I have to use 1 in Scythe and 1 in Charterstone, or 1 in Scythe and 1 in Tapestry, or something like that. As you play, you will be gaining resources which allow you to manipulate that. I'm not going to go into all those rules right now. I'll explain how those manipulations work as we get to them. So right now I have a 3 and a 5, and I will look here at my 3 realms that I have to play with. And you may have noticed that these names on the cards correlate to other games published by Stegmaier Games. So Scythe being one of their most famous ones, second I think only to Wingspan, which has had massive global success. So each of the cards in Rolling Realms is relating to a different game published by Stegmaier. And the way that realm works is kind of a homage to how that game actually plays. So in Wingspan, you're trying to fill up these bird cards, correlating to placing birds in your habitat in Wingspan, for which I've also done a video. I'll link that down below. So the ones we're playing with today, being Scythe, tells us to mark a number. Anytime you see a hashtag symbol there, that represents one of the numbers you have rolled for the turn. The top row provides resources. The bottom row costs resources to gain stars. When you mark a top row number, you may also pay the bottom row resource cost in the same column to mark it. And it tells us at the bottom, score 1 star per marked bottom row number. So all of the realms have different rules for how they work, and they tell you at the top half of the card how that card works, and at the bottom card how it scores. So in this instance, with the 3 and a 5, I could mark off the 5, which would let me gain 1 heart, which I would then mark on my board over here. At which point, if I already had a coin from a previous turn, then I could cross off the 4. I don't actually need a 4. If I have the coin, I can pay the coin and then I can get a star. This will become a bit more clear as I play. Or you can simply cross off, so I could spend a 5, cross off the 5 there, spend a heart and gain a star. Remembering that our goal is to score at least 8 stars total. So let's see what Charterstone does. Either use a number to mark a building and gain a resource. So you can mark a 5 and gain a coin. Then note the other rolled die on the crate. So in this case, if I marked the 5, I would cross out the 5 space, gain a coin, and then I would write the 3 in the crate over here. That die remains available for another realm, so I can still use the 3 elsewhere. Or mark all crates matching the number. So if in a later turn I've got multiple crates down here with 3s in them, I can use a single 3 and I can cross off all of those crates. You will score 1 star per marked crate with a number noted in it. And finally, Tapestry. Fill in a shape. So you're trying to fill in these little polyomino squares. Rotating is okay, no limit to uses of each shape. Gain a resource when completing a big square. You then gain stars when completing rows or columns. So again, with my 3 and my 5, I could use the 5 to fill in that shape. I would then cross out squares in that shape and gain resources or stars as the case may be. So that's a quick overview of how these work. Now, I'll play out a few turns and you'll see how they work in action, which will hopefully make them a bit more clear. So I think the first thing to do is, I think Tapestry is quite a good one to start with because this can be quite tricky to fill in. I'm going to use that 5 to fill in this top corner over here. So I'm going to use the 5, set that aside for now, and I'm going to mark off that shape. I'm going to mark off here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. Let's make them little crosses so it's more obvious. Now I have filled in a big square, so I gain 1 pumpkin, which I note by circling the pumpkin up at the top there. At any time on your turn, instead of using a die for its number, you can use that number to simply gain 1 resource. Usually that's not a great thing to do, but it's a good backup in case you can't use a die anywhere for some reason. So now I can use the 3. I've used that 5, I can't use it again elsewhere. And I can't use the 3 in Tapestry. I have to use it somewhere else. So let's see. If I mark off here, I can get another pumpkin, but then I don't have the coin, so I won't be able to spend a coin to gain a star. So what I found with the Scythe realm specifically is it's pretty much always best to try and mark off these top numbers when you have the resources for the bottom numbers, because then you're basically getting 2 actions for 1 turn, instead of using a number to simply cross off a star at the bottom. So I think my next option is that leaves me only with Charterstone. I will use the 3. I will cross out the 3 over there, which lets me gain a heart. And then I will mark the 5 in that bottom crate. That's not a very clear 5. Let's try again. I will mark the 5. Still not great, but we all know what it means. Okay, so that is the end of turn 1. So once the game gets ticking over, you can see it will go very quickly. So next turn, roll the dice, they go off the screen. I get a 4 and a 3, mark a 4 and a 3 there. So now, if I had used that 5 in Charterstone last turn and marked a 3 there, I could mark off this 4 and put another 3 there and start building up 3s. So right now I'm sort of disincentivized to use Charterstone unless I really need those resources. If I look at the 4 over here, that would let me gain a coin, and then I could spend that pumpkin to gain a star. I think that is quite a good way to go. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the 4, and I'm going to cross out the 4 in Scythe, which lets me gain a coin. And then, using Scythe's special rules, when you mark a top row number, you may also pay the bottom row resource cost to mark it. So now I can spend a pumpkin, cross off the bottom row number as if I used that number there, and cross out my first star of the game. So that is Scythe, and I used the 4 to do that. So now I can still use this 3 somewhere. And I will use the 3 over here. Yes, because I can't use it in Charterstone, because that's already been used, so I have to use it in Tapestry. And I will put it in this column over here. Cross out those there, which gains me another coin. And I'm fast on my way to filling in a column there and gaining a star. And I'll play one more turn. We've got a 6 and a 2. 6 and a 2. Let's see what we're going to do with a 6 and a 2. A 6 would be quite a good one to fill in Tapestry, because that's a nice big number to fill in a lot of spaces. I wonder if it would fit somewhere. It would fit there quite well. Yeah, I'm quite tempted to just use that 6. Now remember, if you're playing along at home, you can be using these same numbers and filling in your own realms in any way you choose. And if you do so, if you do play along, let me know down in the comments below what your final score was, because I'd be really interested to see that. I'm sure some of you are screaming at your screens right now about some of the moves I've made. I'm not the most hyper-strategic player when it comes to this game. So let's see, I'm going to use that 6 over here, because that's a good place to fill in a whole bunch of things. Actually, no. Actually, yes. Okay, here's my plan. Fill in the 6 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I have left myself with a bit of a pickle over there with 2 small things, so I need a 1 or a 2 to fill in those. Filling in that 6, though, did get me a pumpkin, which I'm then going to use the 2 to mark off over here, gain a heart, and then spend the pumpkin up there to cross off that number and get another star. So that's how you can sort of play these realms off each other. And oftentimes, a big part of the strategy in this game is finding those combinations and how to make the different realms play well off each other. Roll the dice again. Play another turn. We've got a 5 and a 1. The numbers are 5 and 1, and my 5s are terrible. And there's that 1 I needed. So let's think about, I want to probably use that 1 over here in Tapestry to fill in that space. But another thing to remember is using your resources up here. So you've seen I've been using these exclusively for Scythe over here, but they all have their own little sets of rules. So let's go over how those work quickly. The pumpkins, if you have 2 of them, you can use to adjust a die by plus or minus 1. So you can cross out 2 pumpkins, and then I could use that 1 as if it's a 2, or that 5 as if it's a 6, or that 5 as if it's a 4. And how that works is when you adjust a die, you just do it virtually. You're not actually changing the die for any of the other players at the table, if you're playing a multiplayer game. So it would be as if a 2 was rolled for you, but you don't actually change the physical dice. So for everyone else at the table, it's still a 1, unless they use pumpkins to manipulate it. The other thing you can do with pumpkins is adjust a die by plus or minus 1 or 0. You don't have to adjust. You may then use it in a realm you've already used this turn, and that costs 3 pumpkins. So that allows you to break that rule of having to use 2 different realms for your 2 different numbers each time. Okay, the hearts, if the rolled dice are a pair, you can gain another die of that value. So if I rolled 2 5s, I could cross off 2 hearts, and then it's as if I've rolled 3 5s. And then the use them in the same realm rules still apply, but you can stack these abilities. So if I were to use that, I could cross off 2 hearts to gain a third 5, and then use the pumpkins. If I had 3 pumpkins, I could use them to adjust one of those 5s and use it in a realm I'd already used that turn. So these can be very interesting to manipulate your dice and basically give you a little bit more control. You're not just completely left over to luck. So the other thing you can do is use 3 hearts to gain a die of the same value as either rolled die. So that's a bit more powerful. If I had 3 hearts, I could use them to gain an additional 5 or an additional 1. You're not locked into only when you roll a pair. And then the coins are quite interesting. If the sum of the rolled dice is 7, you can spend 2 coins to gain a die of the same value as either rolled die. Similar to how the hearts work, basically giving you a third die on a turn. Or gain a die of value X, 1 through 6, whereby you can spend any number of coin and gain a die of that value. So for instance, to fill in these 2 spaces in Tapestry, I could spend these 2 coin and fill in that 2 space, as if we had just rolled a 2. So that's how the resources work. Let's carry on and see what I'm going to do with this 5 and this 1. I'm a little bit tempted to use the 1 over here. Yes, that's precisely what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the 1 over here And you'll see why in a moment, because now I can put the 5 down there. I gain a pumpkin. Then I'm going to use the 5 over here, gain a heart. And I have coins. I will spend a coin to cross out that and gain a star over there. Then I'm going to spend 1 coin over here to gain a die of value 1 and mark it off in Tapestry over there. So I haven't quite filled that in, but I'm working towards it. So now I've used all 3 realms that turn by gaining that extra die by spending some gold. So let's roll the dice again and play another turn. We've got a 1 and a 3. So maybe it was a bit wasteful spending my gold on that 1. But oh well. Now I'm actually hoping for a 5 so I can cross out these 2 5s in Charterstone. And a 1 and a 3 ain't it. Oh dear, this isn't very good. If I use a 3 over here, that's not bad. But then I can't use that 1. Oh, I could use the 1 over here and cross that out. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to use the 3 over here in Tapestry, giving me this shape, which I'll fill in here. 1, 2, 3, which gains me a heart. Then I'm going to use the 1 in Scythe over here, which gains me a coin. And I'm going to spend a heart to cross out that 5 and gain another star in Scythe. So far, all my points are sitting over here. I do have 4 of the 8 points I'm looking for, because I'm playing in normal mode, so I'm not shooting for that 9.5. And that is the end of that turn. I don't want to spend those hearts at the moment, because I don't really need another 1 or a 3, so I'm just going to roll the dice again, and that's quite interesting. Never seen that happen before. Wow. Okay, now we got a 4 and a 3, and those now total 7. So if I had 2 coins, I could spend 2 of them to gain another 4 or 3. And a 4 and a 3 don't help me a lot. Because I don't have the pumpkins I need to manipulate them, which is a bit of a problem. I need a 2 down here. If I could gain another coin, I'd be able to use that, or I need to try to get some pumpkins to be able to manipulate my dice. This is tricky. If I use the 3 over there, I get a pumpkin. And I've got the coin, so I could cross that off and get another star over there. But then I'd be left with a 4, which I couldn't easily manipulate to be what I want. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to mark off this 3 and gain a pumpkin. I now have 2 pumpkins. I'm going to spend a coin to cross off this and get another star. And I'm running out of options down that way to do stuff. Now I'm going to use the 4. I'm not going to manipulate it now. I'm going to hope for something more useful in that last turn. Ooh, no, here's what I'm going to do, because now I might almost have what I need. I'm going to use these 2 pumpkins, 1, 2, to turn that 4 into a 5. Remembering that in a multiplayer game, you wouldn't physically turn the die because it stays a 4 for everyone else. But just for my own reference, I'm changing it to a 5, which I'm then going to use in Charterstone to cross out these 2 crates and gain 2 stars. So that gets me very close, and I've only got 1 turn left. So I'm hoping for a 1 or a 2, because then I can get another star. If I can get a 2, I'll get 2 stars out of Tapestry, because that will complete 2 columns. Let's see. That is not a 2. Bothersome. 1 and a 3. And I've gone and spent my pumpkins now, so I can't even manipulate either of those into a 2. Bother. Okay, let's just see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just need 1 more star, which I can gain with that 3. So I can use the 3 in Scythe over here, and I can spend a heart, and I can gain another star. And then the 1, of course, I can use the 1 as a single space. I will use it down here, which gives me another heart. and allows me to finally fill in a column. So there, I just completed that. So now that is the end of hole 1. We have played through 7 turns, as reminded by crossing off those 2 end turns. A normal game, remember, would take place over 9 turns, not only 7. Now we tally up our final score. So I've got 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you get 0.1 of a point for each leftover resource you have at the end of the game. So I have 1, 2, 3 remaining resources. I have a final score of 9.3. So basically 10 leftover resources is equivalent to 1 point. So it's much more beneficial to use all your resources than to keep them for points at the end of the game. And with that, we can see I have succeeded at hole 1 with a par 1. So I would then mark that off on my course log over here and would cross out the first attempt there and then mark 1 in this tries box over here to indicate that I succeeded on my first try. If it took me multiple tries, I would keep going until either I succeed, at which point I write 2, 3, or 4 in this space over here. If after 4 tries you haven't succeeded at meeting the objective of the hole, then you move on to the next hole and you just mark 5 as your par for that hole. So you never get stuck on a single hole just indefinitely trying it over and over and over. Because some of them, as you'll see on my previous attempt, maybe you can see this, I took 4 tries to get hole 2 in my previous attempt at this. So the different holes can get a little bit tricky. Hole 2 shouldn't have been that difficult. I was clearly having a bad day. And with that, I will wrap it up. I think that gives you a really good idea of how Rolling Realms plays. This Solitaire Minigolf, I think, is a very nice addition to the game. To be able to play it solo instead of just beating your best high score, it gives you a little bit of an objective to work towards. And I'd love to hear from you down in the comments below. If you played along, what were your final scores and did you manage to complete it in 1 attempt? Or, if not, how many attempts did it take? And I hope to see you again in the next video where I will play through hole 2. And with that, I will say thank you ever so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed the show.